Okay, so to make an animated GIF header for maybe your Google Form or Google Classroom, I've set my page size to 1600 by 400 pixels. Okay. And I've got my slide already set up with the background I want and the Bitmoji I want to use. So my first step, I click over here on slide 1, and then I'm going to do Control or Command D, depending on if you're a Mac or a Windows user, to duplicate the slide. So now I have 2 slides that look exactly the same. What I want to do on the second slide is I want to click on her, and then I'm going to use my arrow to move her over 1 space. Then I'm going to click back on the slide so it's highlighted and there's not any boxes around her. And I'm going to duplicate again using Command or Control D. Then I'm going to click on her and I'm going to move her over a space. Now, continue back over slide 3, duplicate with Command D, click on the Bitmoji, move her over a space. Now, you're saying this is going to take forever. I was like, yes, it will. Now, you could move her over 2 spaces each time you duplicated, and when you have your GIF, it won't be as smooth. It'll be a little jerky, like she's kind of like tap dancing, sliding, scruffing across the floor. But that's up to you. You could even move her 4 spaces. And I am going to do this real quick in silence so I can speed it up and you don't have to watch it. Okay, now I'm going to do it 2 times over so you can see the difference when we make our final GIF. Okay, now I'm going to do it 3 times. So I'm clicking on the arrow 3 times to go over. And this time I'm going to do it 4 times. Now I'm going to do it 5 times between duplications. Now, at the end, a lot of people like to have the Bitmoji change to just a standing or a sitting position. So I'm just going to go and find this, I like this one. Pull it down, and I'm going to put it exactly on top of the last one I made. I'm not going to delete it yet, because 1, I want them to be the same size, and 2, I want them to be in the same spot. So, getting pretty close here because the other one behind her is kind of an angle. So that's pretty good. Move it over a little bit. Then I'm going to go click the tab button to select the one behind her and delete it. And then I'm going to duplicate this one a few times over here on the left by clicking on slide 61 just so that it stands there, because when it's going really fast you may not see it. So the more you add of it, it'll look like it's standing still. Okay, so now you've got your slides made, and we ended up making 69. You're going to go to talltweets.com, and then you're going to scroll down. Now there's also an add-on, but I've been having trouble using it lately. It hasn't been responding very well. So this is the way they started out, was on their website. So you'll select your presentation. It's probably going to go through and ask for permission to use your Google Drive. And then you'll find the presentation you want to do. This is the one we just made. Click on it, and then I'm going to select. And then it's going to start thinking. This part can take a while, depending on how many slides you have. And so I'm just going to let it sit here for a minute, and I will speed up the video in processing. Okay, so 2 or 3, 4 or 5 minutes later, it'll look like this. And so what you want to do is you want to tell it how wide you want it. Now, if you're doing a Google Classroom header or a Google Form header, you're going to do 1600 because that's the pixel width of it. Okay. Slide duration, you can kind of play around with this number. I'm going to do 0.05, and this is how long each slide shows. So remember, there were like 60-something slides, and we want to know how many seconds we want each slide to show. Well, we don't want to do for 1 second because that'd be so boring. So this is 5/100ths of a second. But you can, like I said, play around depending on what you have your Bitmoji do. You may have to change this number. Okay, and then I'm going to click Create GIF. This part will take a bit of a while too. And so I will just speed up the next couple of minutes. Alright, so you can see here the first little part of the GIF is smooth, and then it kind of gets a little jerky. It does go faster, but it still is jerky. Okay, I do like the ending of that. That's pretty cool, and it stayed pretty long. Okay, so at this point I'm going to go ahead and save it, and it's going to download into my downloads folder onto my computer. Okay, so prior to 2020, you used to be able to upload an animated GIF as your header. Unfortunately, it only takes static images now. There's a little bit of a workaround for that though. And so what you do is you go over here to the right and you click Add Image. I'm going to browse and find our download.gif that we made. And it's thinking about it. There it is. And so now we're animated. And so we can kind of cheat and pull this up to the top. And so it still makes it nice and interesting. You've got the title of your form and everything. You don't have to do an image title, but we could, like we did, sliding into science. Okay, let's go take a preview look at that, see what it looks like. Here, we'll go ahead and give it a name. Science quiz. Click on the eyeball, see what it looks like. It's waiting. There it goes. Very cool. Okay, so yeah, it's not up at the top anymore as the header, but it's still on there and it's still right under the title, and I still think it looks pretty cool. Let's go take a look at Google Classroom. Okay. Now, if you've noticed on the Bitmojis in the Classroom header that we have, it's kind of dark. This is an ADA, American Disabilities Act requirement that Google has put on these headers so that the text can be read by screen readers and that kind of thing. There is no way to lighten this. People have tried and made it really light, and so pretty much you just kind of live with it, and this is how it is. So we're going to go though, and we're going to upload a photo. Select photo from our computer and go to our GIF that we made. Need to pull it out a little bit. There we go. Select class theme. Let it think about it for a minute because it says it's changing. There it goes. So your headers in your classroom are still animated, and that's pretty cool, even though they're dark like that. So definitely you want to choose light colors like that light green background that I chose for the wall. That'll be very helpful. So you've got that, and then you've got it in your quiz right below the title, Sliding into Science.